Hello and welcome back to My Mom's Basement, presented by Barstool Sports and 3Chi. I am your host, Robbie Fox. With me is Clem. I am not in my usual My Mom's Basement setup today. I am in Las Vegas at the M Resort. We are here for the Canelo versus Bivol fight. It'll be already happened by the time you listen to this podcast, but that is, or no, it won't be. This is a Friday podcast. So listen, if you're listening to this podcast right now, I beg of you, go to DAZN.com/Barstool and get this pay-per-view. I'm going to be on the call with Dave and Big Cat. We've got Ronan and Caleb doing the interviews with fighters, celebrities, whoever's ringside. DAZN.com/Barstool. That's how DAZN sees, like, oh, Barstool is driving views. And then if this becomes a success, we do it more often. The basement gets elevated because of it. Everyone gets elevated. What's the phrase? Like, water rises all the ships? Some shit like that.
Tides raise all ships or something,
Yeah,
something
something
like that. You're not coming to the basement for old English sayings, but that's the gist of it. And it's also DAZN.com/Barstool, because I'll be honest, I didn't know how to say DAZN
True.
for the first 5 years of its existence, and then I just found out, and now they're our best friends. So
really
shout
are.
out to Zone. And these, obviously, Big Cat, Dave, those are the big guns. We got Roan there. Is Caleb there or just Roan?
Caleb's out here, yeah.
Caleb, X Factor with those two together. But this is also Bob, obviously, the basement. This is his basement. And then Large, who has visited the basement before. This is family here. So, hey, if you want to do it, you buy the fight. Make sure if you want to tweet Erica and Dave a screenshot and say, I got this because of Robbie and Clem in the basement, might keep the lights on for at least another week or so. So
Definitely.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see this fight. I can't wait to hear this fight. Is that something I don't think anyone's ever said before? But I mean it. I can't wait to hear this fight.
We're going to be doing that on DAZN, and then we're doing a free pre-show as well. The pre-show is me, Big Cat, Roan, and Large. We're going to have guests. I think Eddie Hearn's going to join for a little bit, so look out for that. I think that's going to be 4 p.m. Local time, Las Vegas time, so 7 p.m. maybe Eastern time on Saturday if you're listening to this on release day. But let's get into what people are actually listening to this podcast for, and that is Moon Knight, the Moon Knight finale. It's out. The series is over. It feels crazy that the series is over. I know we had some 6-episode series in the MCU before. Loki was 6 episodes and stuff. This doesn't feel like it's over. It still feels like there's meat left on the bone for Moon Knight, and not necessarily in a bad way. I just wish this were an 8-episode series. 2 more episodes in the middle, I think, would have made the show benefit a lot.
Yeah, we've talked about this between WandaVision, Book of Boba Fett, even. Loki, I think, felt about right, But some of these other things have just not been... It feels like the pacing was a little off. I guess this is a new frontier, this Disney Plus TV show miniseries that could be a movie or whatever, and they're introducing the character. But I'm with you, Bob. I feel like there's some meat on the bone. It's not saying I was oh, I need 2 more episodes of Moon Knight. But I think if they had paced it better and some of the stuff we saw this episode, I think there could have been some cool ass shit coming up in the future. So definitely some meat left on the bone. That was such a tough look for Moon Knight, because we're taping this May 5th. Yesterday, May 4th. On May the 4th. Obviously, it's a big Star Wars day. But Moon Knight having the season finale, and it got straight up kicked off the Disney Plus top carousel, was a tough look for Stephen Grant, Marc Spector, Khonshu, Jake Lockley, whoever the fuck you want to say. I think even Jose took a hit on that one just because he's such a Moon Knight fan. That was a tough look for our boys there, man. I was not happy to see that.
And you posted the tweet of it, and when I just read the caption, you said Moon Knight it's a tough look. He's been kicked off the docket. I didn't quite realize he was literally off of it entirely. I thought it was going to be he's not on the first slot or the second spot. They had 12 slots. He wasn't on any of them. They put every single Star Wars movie on there. Which, as a Star Wars guy, I respect. It's a religious holiday and all that, but tough look for Moon Knight.
They put Book of Boba Fett on there. They put, obviously, Mando. Then you said, there's, the fucking prequels. And you're and Moon Knight on its season finale. And again, they were calling it season finale, not series finale. So I do feel like there could be another one here.
And the way it ended, the post-credit scene, seems to indicate a season 2, which I hope we get.
Yeah.
Moon Knight, we talked about this last week with Jose a little bit and how we would, compare it to other MCU shows. I really hate to say this. I think it would be my least favorite live-action show. That being said, I enjoyed it every week. I looked forward to it every week. I just felt like this was a really, really good show that maybe never quite got great. And there were great moments in it. And the acting was great. And there were certain things about it that were great. But I don't know. I just left this feeling not like blown away by it, but by like being like, I wish I had more.
Yeah, again, I don't know if that is a thing where if they had maybe chopped it up, done it differently. It's kind of like with Book of Boba Fett, where it's like there was, other than the Mando episodes, which are fucking through the roof awesome. I was like, there was something there, and I liked it. And every week I was like, all right, but then it was kind of like I was like comfortably numb watching it, where it was like, oh, that's cool, and then it was like, and then there was some parts that never really hit, never fell in love with it, never was obsessed with it.
Never a 3 a.m. watch for us, you know. We never really stayed up for it.
Yep, that's true.
Was also, it was a blessing and a curse in like the interest level, because it sucks when you're not super interested and the fans aren't super interested. There wasn't as many fan theories for this as there seemed to be for the other ones. But on the other side, Moon Knight became a show where I didn't have to watch it right away. I wasn't really worried about anyone spoiling Moon Knight for me at any point, and I never got anything spoiled for me because people just weren't on it watching it the second it came out.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I guess for us, we got lucky too in that Jose was so good with it, where like I felt like I kind of knew what was going on. I feel like there are some people who are just like, what the fuck, for every single week when shit was going down. And I do think there's still like enough unanswered stuff out there that could be fun with the season 2. But yeah, I never was, oh my God, Moon Knight. I'm with you, man.
And I don't want people to take that the wrong way. I feel like when I especially am not like over the moon happy about something, people are like, Bob hated it. He must have thought it sucked. Like, I truly did enjoy Moon Knight. I thought it was a good show. But it was just not like the Loki, WandaVision, that level for me. Not even, I wouldn't even really put it on like Falcon and Winter Soldier level, which I know some people were like, thought it was mid. I really enjoyed that show. We didn't get like that John Walker fucking shield moment in Moon Knight. We didn't get those type of moments. Let's talk about the finale though, because we did get some cool moments in the finale. And I thought, as far as wrapping it all up in one episode went, they did a pretty good job. I thought this was a very good episode. It was entitled Gods and Monsters, and this also just goes back to what I said last week. I wish they would have went with title cards for every episode. If instead of like Moon Knight episode 6, Gods and Monsters, just on Disney Plus, if it was like a title card that said Moon Knight, Gods and Monsters, this is that chapter, it would just hype me up a little bit more. And this is like, speaking of the Canelo fight, we got a fucking title fight. We got 2 title fights in this one. Khonshu versus Amit, and Moon Knight versus Harrow. This is pretty fucking sick. So we start with them pulling Marc's body out of the water from where he got shot. I immediately thought when I saw that, and I didn't think of it last week, but like him getting shot falling into the water, that's got to be like the symbolic rebirth thing, right? He was rebirthed into the world through the water or whatever.
Getting deep on us, Bob Fox. Getting deep on us here.
A little deep. And then it's time to free Amit for Harrow and all of the followers. They have her little statue. Layla follows. She gets the scarab and is able to follow along. And she has a really funny scene where she's like talking to a dead cop on the ground, but Tarit, the hippo from last week, is talking through the cop's body and trying to like help her out. She snuck along. I don't know how she snuck along, because they were like in the middle of a desert. It's almost like we've talked about Four Brothers, how he just like comes out of nowhere, and it's like, how did she sneak around in that desert? There's literally nobody for miles, but she's there. They didn't see her.
Weren't they like, they knew she was there in the temple too, and they're like, oh, she's gone, and then they leave the scarab just on his chest, which I still don't know what the fucking scarab was supposed to do.
Like, I guess they kind of took him to Amit's tomb, I guess.
But that doesn't seem like something you just leave behind, right? For like A, like potentially one of like Steven's friends, or B, just like anyone in the fucking world. It just seems like an unnecessary thing, or like some detective or something trying to figure out who went into Amit's thing. I thought that was weird, and I was with you. I was thinking, like, it's kind of funny actually. I actually thought of it in terms of like at Barstool, where there's enough of these followers that they probably don't all know each other by first name, right? It's like, and when I go to HQ, for example, there could be someone who was hired, in 2020, I've probably never met, because you just don't see each other. COVID was crazy with the office. And these people they live all over the place. They're this part of this big happy cult together, but they probably don't like hang out together in the meantime and like know each other on first name basis. So the crew is big enough. I'm like, did everyone just think she was someone else's friend?
That
in
would
the
happen
crew?
at Barstool. I mean, it has happened at Barstool.
Right?
I remember, this is so weird. I don't know if I've ever told this on a podcast. In the HQ2 days, where the company was way smaller, just way smaller, when it was like all content was on one floor, we saw some guy walking around one day, kind of just like college-age kid, typical looking stoolie, and we were like, who is that guy? Does he work here? And everyone didn't know. So eventually I was the one who, usually this isn't like a thing that I would kind of step forward and do. But I was like, went up to him. I was like, hey man, what's going on? I don't think we've met. I'm Robbie. Like, do you work here? And he was like, to be honest, like I just DM'd the main account a bunch and said like I'll clean the bathrooms or whatever, and nobody wrote back, so I just started coming in and cleaning the bathrooms. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, just like people let me in. And I think I told like maybe office manager Brett what was going on, and he was like, yeah, we can't have that.
Oh,
So sorry
the
to
office
that
manager
kid. If he's
Brett.
out there, I didn't mean to blow up the spot, but there was definitely an element of like there was just a stranger in the office walking around with all of us.
Well, there I was going to say, I thought that you were going to tell the story of the time where there was, I think people were like watching a game at HQ2, and someone was like, "Hey, man, like, you know, what do you do? Like, who do you work for? Who's your, you know, what's your job?" And he's like, "Oh no, I just like delivered pizzas here."
Oh, I remember that.
He just was chilling.
He delivered the pizzas and just didn't say anything to anyone and sat down.
Just hanging with the boys, man, hanging with the homies. I respect it. So everyone was just like, yeah, like Layla, I guess, played it off. She just kind of carried herself. The thing is, I think she had long sleeves. If she had short sleeves, it showed. If you don't have the tattoo,
like the hood, and she had like the mask over her face, so she was, you know, trying to be a little conspicuous or inconspicuous. I don't know what the.
I that's a good question.
One of those two. She was trying to be the sneaky one. But this was a good episode for Layla. This was like her best episode by far. She's pretty badass by the end of it.
She murked that motherfucker, and like she knocked that guy out so easy in the temple. I was like, did I just miss something? Like, is she superhuman now? Because I don't know. I don't know what's going on. But again, like I bet if I had to guess, if there was like any of these cult members who were like suspicious, or even one guy who's like security, they probably just look for the scales tattoo. If they see it, they're like, oh, they're good. But if you have long sleeve on, you're not going to ask the person to pull up their sleeves, right? That's a little much. Kill the whole vibe and like, dude, you know, Jimmy's been with us from day one.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, what the fuck? Yeah. He's with us, and then you're like, oh, sorry, go ahead. Yeah. Harrow murders all these cops, by the way. All the cops that Layla was talking to, he like fucking. They're like, "Where's your papers?" And you see their souls, like yellow or purple energy, come out of their body. Murders all of them right in front of Layla too.
I was like, I think God powers are going to be the new Infinity Stone powers in this phase of Marvel, because that was wild, and to have like souls and they're like a distinct color. Actually, shit, I don't like this. I have to go back now. It should be the color of the Soul Stone.
Oh.
Your soul should be the color of the Soul Stone.
Interesting.
Feige, how did this fucking make it past your desk?
That's true. They did it purple. Just is that the purple just meant to be like it's from the dark dimension? They're using that magic to take him or something?
Oh, maybe it's Amit's, because like didn't the little cane turn purple? Maybe that's just the color of his magic.
They usually which was also for dark dimension. Usually it's like dark dimension magic. Agatha Harkness used purple magic.
Agatha, yep.
So I don't know, but I kind of agree with you on that Soul Stone thing. That would have been neat. Kevin Feige, by the way, shout out to him. Not only did we mention this earlier in the season, he came up with the Moon Knight, like the wraps design for the Moon Knight costume. He apparently also came up with the stitching, kind of going down Mr. Knight's mask and like cutting the mask in half with a little tear. That's meant to be like the two personalities, and Kevin Feige came up with that himself.
Shout out Kevin. Is there anything that man can't do? Fucking trust the Feige. We're gonna be fine in this series, and I'll take back my magic slander. I'm sure it made sense with the Agatha stuff. I'm sure it's all gonna alter. I haven't seen Doctor Strange yet. I already got the tickets for tomorrow, so I can get there. But I take back the slander. It would have been cool, but there could have been some. Also, when he got the cane, and then the cane like switched. Yeah, then there was like a little bit of like rainbow colors flying around, and then like they kind of just like, all right, and they just all left. I was like, that was the weirdest exit I've ever seen in my life. It was just a weird whole like mojo thing I had with that.
So he kills all these avatars of the gods when he does that shit with the cane to bring Amit back, release Amit. She's released. She's a massive crocodile. People wanted me to make a note. Alligator Loki is an alligator. Amit is a crocodile. Two different things. So Alligator Loki's not sus, you know. He's still in the clear, still our sweet boy. And Amit tells Harrow in an interesting moment, she's like, I'm going to kill you, basically. Like, when I'm done with you, I'm going to kill you because of the impurity. She doesn't, like, believe in pure souls anymore because of Alexander the Great and how he trapped her. But interesting parallel from Khonshu, where Khonshu's kind of like, especially with what Jose's told us about the comics, usually taking advantage of Marc and Steven and Jake even. And Amit's kind of just upfront about it. Like, I'll kill you when this is all over. And this also made me write down, like, is this all leading to Gore the God Butcher? And they're showing us that some of these gods aren't good. Some of them are, don't have their morals in the right place. I don't know. I think it could lead into that, though.
Not only that, Bob, they said the line, which I wrote down, which I love. He said, you are judges, not warriors, as they're just getting their asses beat in. So I love that. Amit, at first blush, first thing I thought of was the giant crocodile from Hook that ate Captain Hook's hand. Yeah. That was the first vibes I got from her.
I kind of thought of Happy Gilmore. Sad.
Yes. Oh, R.I.P. our guy Chubbs. R.I.P.
That hand up in heaven. So Layla is able to free Khonshu, and he makes an offer to her, like, hey, why don't you be my next avatar? And she's like, no, absolutely not. This isn't happening. He doesn't sense Marc's soul. When he comes up, though, immediately he's like, I don't sense Marc in this universe. What's going on? Obviously, we know Marc is in the afterlife, kind of. His soul is separated from his body. I saw maybe New Rockstars or Emergency Awesome. One of their videos described it as like the ancestral plane where he was, where it's kind of like time moves differently, the body's separated and all of that. And Amit is just, while this is going on, stealing the souls of all of those that were judged. You see her getting bigger and bigger. She becomes this monstrous figure over Egypt. You see the souls actually, like she's like inhaling them, the purple souls. And Kanchu Khonshu makes daytime turn night a little later on in the episode, skipping forward a little bit, but to become more powerful, to like go one-on-one with her. And then they actually get to fight, and they're like, it's like a massive fight. They look like King Kong and Godzilla or something with the size of them. I thought that was so cool. Amit obviously continues stealing those souls, and we cut back to Marc turning down the Field of Reeds and heaven and all of that to go back for Stephen. He's like, I don't want to abandon my guy. This is another thing that Jose told us about beforehand, where he's like, usually the Moon Knight arcs wrap up with Marc or Steven or Mr. Knight, whoever it may be, learning to make terms with the personalities, learning to control it. And I thought the scene where they did it here was pretty good, pretty emotional. And it's interesting because it's also another one of these between Oscar Isaac and Oscar Isaac. But they have a moment where I think Osiris, the god, like helps them out, they said, and helped them get into the big temple with the glowing shit. And they have like a SpongeBob SquarePants moment I wrote down. In the SpongeBob movie, there's a moment where SpongeBob and Patrick get put under a heat lamp out of the water to get dried up because they want to like...
Oh, it's fucked up.
They want to make like a starfish fucking table weight out of Patrick, basically, and SpongeBob. So they start crying together. And their tear forms a heart that wets them up, and then they wind up doing that. And that was almost this moment. It was like when they were finally like making good with one another. They're like, we're friends. We can't live without one another. You see Steven like uncrust, or I don't know how you put that. He kind of uncrusts.
Yeah, uncrust. That's a good way to put it.
Good scene though.
That's why you guys listen to this. I guarantee no other fucking podcast, all those fucking YouTubers that have a billion views on everything and can tell you every single thing about Moon Knight, not one of them made that SpongeBob comparison. I've never even seen SpongeBob, the TV show, let alone the movie. I've probably seen 30 minutes of it. Just in the background, my brother kind of got into it when I was like, I'm 6 years older than him, so I never watched it with him. And my kids have never really dove into SpongeBob, so I've probably had a half hour worth of SpongeBob, consumed in my life. It's crazy. So shout out Bob Fox with that fucking reference. I'm going to co-sign it.
People that know that's legit reference right there. I tweeted it just out of the blue. I tweeted that moment when I was watching the SpongeBob movie not too long ago, actually, just because I was like, this is such a great movie.
Shout out 3G.
Shout out 3G, exactly. And I tweeted out a picture of that moment. I said top 10 saddest moment in all of movies. The tweet blew up. It was probably my top tweet of the month. It got thousands of favorites and retweets and all. I was like, what the fuck? Everyone agrees with this. So those who watched Moon Knight and the SpongeBob SquarePants moment, you guys know that. That was a legit reference.
That Venn diagram, that's a circle, is just hugging their phone or wherever they're watching this on their computer or whatever it may be. And this is why moments like this is where I'm like, I have to just watch SpongeBob just so I have to understand the memes. Because it's like I need to, that is the next progression of memes.
SpongeBob was a meme factory.
So many.
We didn't realize it at the time, but yeah.
My pop culture reference, whenever I saw him in that little field, I always think of Gladiator.
I knew you were going to say that. I was on there. I was on the same mental frame with you there. I knew you were going Gladiator. Fun fact about Gladiator, that's the last movie that Vince McMahon saw.
Wow, that is a fun fact, Bob. That we're on fire right now. We're on fire. This show. I don't know how much people loved it, but I'm telling you, at least we're bringing the heat this final episode. Shout out to Marc too, because being in heaven and hanging out with a talking hippo sounds like a pretty fucking good time. To bail on that, to hang. And granted, we learned him and Steven have a very, very deep connection that I don't think anyone could really realize unless they've been through that shit. But Marc just looking like a goddamn hero. A lot of arcs for everyone in this show. Steven had his rise. Marc's had his rise. Everyone's kind of had their rise. Someone else had their rise later on. You got to give Layla credit for holding her ground against Kanchu, who was really giving her the business, talking some shit. He had the extra deep voice on. I love that when Khonshu went in and was talking to Amit, and she's like, "Time has been cruel to you." What a sick burn that is. That is time has been cruel to you is an all-time sick burn. It's not quite up there with like, oh, bless
that makes me think like, what did he look like when time wasn't cruel to him?
Yeah, I did see that on, it was one of those recap shows. I guess there's like an image of him where he looks like a bird, and he's like a cool looking bird.
And everything, with not a skull.
He has the feathers and shit. Yeah. So this kind of gives Kanchu a little bit of like levels to him now, where we're dealing with some dude who's looking washed as shit because he's a fucking skeleton,
and maybe that's why he's so, immoral, because he's been through some shit in life.
Yep. And then finding out, like we said with the temple fight, that giant fight, like you said, it was kind of a Godzilla versus King Kong vibes. The old people like me, it was a little bit of Rampage, because you had the little fights, little people, and then you had the big monsters fighting. And finding out that your dad was in the field of reed, like that has to be a nice thing for Layla, knowing that her dad's in a good place, in the gladiator heaven, as I choose to call it. And when she turns, did you mention the outfit yet?
No, we didn't. But that's like
we didn't get
basically
there yet.
The next thing. She becomes the temporary avatar, quote unquote, temporary avatar of Talret the hippo.
Yeah.
And there's a very funny, like, interesting scene, the way they shot it, where she's like playing both, and she's like, "Oh, I'm taking over as you," and then she's like, "Oh, what are you doing?" And she's going back and forth. Talret, shout out to her. All these gods have like one thing about them where you're like, oh, they're perfect except for that one thing. Talret is kind of the perfect god. When you make the like chaotic good, chaotic evil, whatever, she's just good. And she becomes the temporary avatar. Layla is a badass in this moment too. Her outfit's really cool. Kind of reminded me of like what like Wonder Woman would wear before she left the where was she? Athena or something? Not Athena. That's one of the heroes.
No, it's Was it the last Wonder Woman where she has like
in
that fucking outfit on?
She starts like that. Yeah. It's like, Wonder Woman's origin. People know what I'm talking about. But it was kind of that cool Greek goddess looking attire.
The Amazon.
And she was really cool when it came down to the fighting. When it's her and Moon Knight going back to back, it was like, it didn't feel forced at all. I was like, oh, I'm down for this. This is fucking sweet.
And what is it, Scarlet Scarab or something like that? People are thinking that's who she's going to end up being. I guess there was a lot of hints to it when they're at the asylum. She has it like on a Band-Aid or something like that.
They call her that. Yeah. And now we got all these characters.
So there's definitely a lot there.
We got Layla. She's now an avatar of a god. Steven's back. We've got Marc back. I'm sure you're thinking, if they all go out to eat, that's going to be so expensive if all of those people go out to eat together, right? Well, I've got a solution for them, and it's HelloFresh. It's America's #1 meal kit. I don't know if you can get it in Egypt. Maybe they could ship it out for Marc, real special. Or maybe Kanchu could just, like, do something crazy where he teleports to here, teleports there. They teleported him to Egypt in the first place.
Order HelloFresh now, Marc. I'll take care of it. Don't worry.
And then, like, Marc wakes up and he looks in his fridge and it's all gone. And he's like, "Steven, did you do this?" And Steven's like, I didn't eat all that. Who could it have been?" Jake is just fucking going to town on HelloFresh without them knowing. You could pick your favorites from 50 weekly options, all different stuff. You could now change in items, so they have like swapping out one protein for another, one side for another. That's always good for someone like me, because there's always like one ingredient in a meal that I'm like, oh, that would be a perfect meal if not for that. Swap it out. That's all you need to do. HelloFresh has so many options. Veggie meals, low-calorie meals. They've got the family-style meals. Pasta. They've got great pasta. Cheesy chicken. You and me have talked about the cheesy chicken before. That stuff, when they say restaurant quality, they're honestly not kidding with that. And it'll save you a ton of time in the process. So go to HelloFresh.com/Robbie16. Used to be 16 Robbie. They swapped this over, so make sure you got that down. HelloFresh.com/Robbie16. And then use the promo code Robbie16 for 16 free meals. And what else? 3 free gifts. Always.
3 surprises.
You get the 3 prizes. What are they? Moonarangs? Who knows? The little cane? Who knows? A scarab? Who knows? A carrot? Could be carrot.
It could be a cat. It could definitely be a cat. And Robbie,
Yep.
again, don't get lazy with your spelling of Robbie, 16. And the best, like you said, in the past, you'd have to go to the, like, it would, like, basically, the only person who has it good is our guy, Steven, here, because you could be like, all right, Steven's going to go get the groceries, Mark's going to do all the prep, and then Jake gets to eat it all. My friend, HelloFresh, is doing all three of those for you in one. Just fucking have them take care of business. Do it! Do it for us, do it for yourself, do it for fucking Robbie.
Truly the best. Getting back into Moon Knight, they find out that basically to defeat Amit and Harrow, they have to bind Amit's body or her soul to Harrow's body. And it's because most gods like send themselves to some kind of different ancestral fucking universe. They a pocket dimension or some shit. And Amit is like completely in our universe and on Earth. That's why she's becoming so powerful. She's able to use powers at full force. And Moon Knight hits Harrow. Moon Knight becomes Moon Knight again. He kind of renegotiates with Khonshu. Here's the new contract. He gets resurrected. All that. He goes and finds Harrow. He hits him with that Masvidal flying knee. Right away. That's the first thing he does. Boom! Flying knee. I thought that was badass. Just like cheering in my apartment. Great fight scene. It's not too like over the top CGI fight scene-ish, where WandaVision got that way a little bit. This was more like hand-to-hand combat. There is obviously some CGI shit when he goes over the moon and he glides over it with the cape, throwing the moonarangs back to back with Layla. I thought the whole fight scene was really cool.
Yeah, I definitely dug the fight scene.
And the way it ends too is like where you're like, oh fuck, Khonshu's fucked, Marc is fucked. What's gonna happen? And all of a sudden, Jake takes over, and he's like, again, we didn't do that, did you? And Layla almost looks scared of him, like, oh my god, what did you just do?
I'm kind of like torn. Like, part of me wishes I could see Jake operate, and part of me is like, it's kind of cool just being like, that dude just fucked everything up, because it almost is like, it's like the Hulk. I could just see the Hulk after a while. It's just he's just beating the fuck out of everything. But I fucking love that guy. I think he's my favorite guy. I changed. I think he's my favorite guy because he just honestly, he just fucks shit up. He takes care of business.
That post-credit scene was one of my favorite Marvel post-credit scenes in a long time. That made me like almost a Jake guy, where I was like, oh fuck, like I need a season 2 right now. I hope Oscar Isaac has already signed on for that. I would assume he has, because why do a cliffhanger if he hasn't? You know, why leave the fans like? But I don't know.
Yeah,
I guess anything could happen.
Unless they're just, you know, teasing that for like a future appearance in a movie or something like that. That's the only thing. By the way, I know you're a cult leader, Ethan Hawke, and I know you've taken people's souls and doing a lot of fucked up shit, murdering people. Mentioning a guy's dead brother, that's just fucking a bridge too far, sir. A bridge too far. I saw you murder a grandma, but like that was unnecessary.
Which, again, sorry.
Dirty pool.
For the Moon Knight people, sorry for the tangents, but we got a new Obi-Wan trailer on May the 4th, and oh my god, Uncle Owen roasts the fuck out of Obi-Wan in this trailer. He's like, the boy needs to be trained. And he's like you trained his fucking dad? Like you trained his father, Obi-Wan? Ben? Is that how he needs to be trained, Ben? Like you trained his fucking dad? Is that how you want to do it? And Obi-Wan just starts like crying. He's like, oh.
That's a tough look though. Like you're responsible for the fucking man that took, like, we always are like, holy shit, Vader is so like evil and badass. To just be living in fear from this fucking as the Empire just takes over the world, and it's this one dude who you know could just like choke you to death just thinking about it. Yeah, Ben Kenobi has some tough L's ahead of him in this show, I think.
And I want to pull this up. I saw it on Instagram this week from a guy. I think his name is Daz Tibbles on Instagram. He does some awesome stuff. I've sent you some of his stuff before, like some Cad Bane artwork and stuff. And he just made like a fan-made poster like this. And you see Vader with his helmet half off. And it really got me thinking, I think we're going to see Vader like that. Because why do you bring Hayden Christensen back if we're not? Unless you're going to do flashbacks and stuff like that. But it's been pretty made clear, like, Hayden's playing Vader. Like, Hayden's happy to play Vader and all of that. He watched the whole Clone Wars. So I think we're going to see fucking half-face Vader again.
Yeah, because I don't think it makes any sense, like you said, to bring him back unless it's
and
that.
Obviously,
so
James
that's
Earl
awesome.
Jones is doing the voice. So it's not like he's doing the voice. It's just like, you wouldn't bring him back as a stunt body.
Yeah, so I hope, and by the way, for everyone listening that is into Star Wars, we'll be getting into that. That's the same time as Stranger Things. A lot of shit coming up on the basement.
It's the same time as Stranger Things and Miss Marvel.
All right, so we could save it for the end, but We'll save it for the end.
Right,
so we'll put a pin in. We'll put a pin in. We'll
get back to Moon Knight. Yeah,
put a pin in
probably
that.
like, Jesus Christ, guys, get back to Moon Knight. All right, we're back into Moon Knight. They do successfully put Amit's soul into Harrow's body with that chant that they did, and they kind of all binded together with the chant.
That was weird.
It was weird. But like on a show like this with gods and shit. All right, I'll deal with it. Contract kind of frees Marc, Steven from Khonshu, because when they renegotiate it, when he comes back, it's kind of like, I'll do one more thing for you, and then you're going to free me. So he's kind of freed temporarily from Khonshu's spell, and then they wake up, Marc and Harrow, in that mental hospital that we saw them in. Now it's again like, oh my, I thought we knew what was happening for a second, now we don't again. And Marc seems to be confused at first, but then realizes he's in control of things. Him and Steven can swap back and forth whenever he wants, which is another cool thing in the fight that they did a couple times. Steven, as Mr. Knight, is no longer afraid to fight. He's a badass and stuff. But Harrow starts walking away from him, and we see bloodstains on the floor. And you think back to the first scene where it's like, oh, glass in his shoes. Why is he bleeding as a doctor? I didn't really understand what was going on as I watched this. I had to watch YouTube videos that explained what was happening here. The way I saw some people explain it was basically that after all the shit with putting Amit's soul in Harrow's body, they bring him to the real mental hospital that we see in the post-credit scene, where it's like, we're going to put you in here. And then there's a time jump, and eventually Khonshu, he doesn't talk to Marc or Steven. He talks to Jake, remakes a contract with them without them knowing, and then is fucking with both of their minds in that moment. That's at least how people explained it online. I hope I explained it decently on the podcast. It is confusing. It is a mindfuck. It is also par for the course when it comes to Moon Knight. You know, it's like, if we didn't have a mindfuck ending, what are we even doing here? And then we see the post-credit scene. Marc, or Jake actually, picks Harrow up. You don't see who it is at first. You just see like gloves. He's speaking Spanish, and immediately you think back to like what Jose told us. Like, I think he spoke multiple languages as a cab driver, so he could like be those eyes on the ground, ears to the ground. And he takes him out, puts him in a car service, and immediately you got to know once it's a car service. Khonshu's sitting in the back seat with him. They start talking. Harrow's like, "Oh, you're not gonna fucking do shit, you pussy." And he's like, "Well, I'd like you to meet my new friend, Jake Lockley." Fucking door goes open, the little window, shoots him with a pistol a couple times, drives away. Harrow's dead. Awesome way to kill him off in the post-credit scene. And just fucking, this was a badass post-credit scene. Even my girlfriend, watching it with her, she doesn't know anything about the comics or anything. She enjoyed Moon Knight. She enjoys all the MCU shows. When he says Jake Lockley, I had hyped it up so much all season. Like, I bet there's a third one. I bet there's a third one. Even she was like, oh, Jake Lockley. Like, we were going wild. It was awesome.
Yeah, when we wake up, like you said, when we wake up in the asylum, my note here is, oh, god damn it, we're back in this asylum, because I'm like, what the fuck's going on? And again, then I'm just like, did any of this even happen? Even though we've talked to Jose about Moon Knight multiple times, I still don't know what the fuck was going on at that point, which again, anyone who didn't watch the Jose video before this, God bless you if you made it through this in one piece, because I would have been like fucking Marc. I would have had 3 different personalities trying to figure out what the fuck was going on. I liked at the end where they had the 2 goldfish.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like Marc and Steven
yeah.
are both out there. And apparently there was a lot of symbolism in like the stuff that's in the tank, stuff that happens in the show and stuff. So this show is littered with Easter eggs apparently. That again, I don't think I'll ever rewatch Moon Knight, but I do appreciate that shit is in there. That just is like a good attention to detail. And yeah, like you said, Jake Lockley, he's my favorite guy. Speaking Spanish and speaking it like fluently like he does, like awesome. That just I geeked out. I thought, was there anything like when you saw speaking Spanish and he's bringing him to the car, was there anything you thought might have been going on that wasn't what happened?
Yeah, well, I didn't know for sure. Like, I was in my mind, I'm like, oh, I hope that's Jake. I hope that's Jake. But I really didn't know. And like when he spoke Spanish, it almost threw me off a little bit because what we had heard of Jake is like, oh, he has that New York accent, that give me the gabagool. And then he comes out like, oh, hola. And it's like, yeah, it's way different. But once he was in the car service, I was like, yeah, it's got to be. They're not showing us the driver.
I thought it was just like a goon, the guy speaking Spanish. We weren't supposed to know who he was. and I thought he was bringing it to our girl Elaine Bennis.
Oh,
and we were gonna have some sort of tie-in with that. What's her name, Valentina?
Yeah. Oh, you know who I thought it was?
So,
for a second, I swear, now I'm kind of remembering this. For a second, I thought it was gonna be that Bushman guy. I thought they were gonna like introduce us to that guy and like they team up season 2, but obviously different direction. I think if they do a season 2, that Bushman guy will probably be the villain though.
That feels like, and they're gonna have to dial up. And the show was called Moon Knight.
I guess the brother could be the villain too. What Jose told us about.
Yeah, if he comes back, that would be completely different. I love how Jake also just fucking threw the wheelchair to the side.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck this guy, fuck
great,
his wheelchair.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, man, Jake and my guy Kanchu, they are going to fuck some shit up. Like this next, if there is a season 2 of Moon Knight, I'm gonna go in excited that these two are probably gonna be like a good amount of time together. And that is bad news for all the bad guys out there in fucking Cairo or wherever they end up. I think they're in London at the end. Is that right?
I think they're back in London. Yeah, they're back in because they're back in his apartment. Remember, he like trips at the end.
That's right. Yep.
So yeah, but I'm excited for the future of Moon Knight. I think we are going to get more Moon Knight, and I think just making this Jake Lockley thing at the end of the season like that, it gives like another layer of depth onto the whole show, where it's like, oh, Khonshu was making Marc think. Like Marc was like, oh, I'm the victim here. I gotta take this out for Khonshu. It's like in reality, Jake is Khonshu's guy. You're just kind of buying the time till he needs Jake again.
You're like the shitty hours where Jake has to sleep, basically. Yeah. No one wants to deal with you guys.
Khonshu's just making small talk with Marc and Steven and doing business with
exactly.
Jake.
Just tickling their balls. He's not doing anything. I love it. So you said this is the bottom of your rankings?
As far as the live action shows go, I think it would be. Now, that being said, I don't think we've gotten a bad live action show.
Yeah, there's nothing that I hated or like truly disliked. Or was like, oh, I gotta watch this again. But it was definitely the lowest, and I'm not surprised. And again, I'm like just fucking blowing Jose on the podcast, but like he just made it so like I probably would have fallen out at some point just out of confusion, other than the podcast, obviously. So I think it's like thing is Falcon the Winter Soldier did have some moments, right? It's like it had
those
shield
moments. Those are pretty sweet.
Remember we did the episode I forgot about Zemo. Yeah, all right. So I'm gonna have to put this. Yeah, that's the first thing I thought of when you said that. So I'm gonna have to put this last as well. Do you have a fast food item for what you would compare this to?
I was just thinking about that, and I don't know what my fat. Do you have one that you could go with first?
Yes.
While I think.
Yep. So I'm gonna go with a chicken bacon ranch Subway sub.
Oh.
So going into Moon Knight, it's like I kind of had an idea what to expect again, thanks to Jose. And I think whenever you're getting a Subway sub, you kind of have an idea it's gonna, how it's gonna be. There was some cool ass shit, the cool ass suit, right? That's kind of the bread smell. You go in Subway, you always are like, oh, we got some fucking fake ass bread smell in the air. Which again, every Subway smelling exactly the same will never stop bugging me out for the rest of my life. And then you eat it, and I was just like, all right, I was fed, I'm full. Like, mission accomplished. Lunch has been eaten, but that could have been better. I would have been fine with something else. And it's like, even if someone else had made this, if you got chicken bacon ranch from like a deli, or I don't even know, is Quiznos still alive?
Oh, I don't know. It's a good question. I've never had Quiznos.
I loved Quiznos back in the day. Yeah, I love Quiznos. But it's like at the end, I was just like, I just wish it could have been better. So I'm sure there's gonna be some people who are very upset that I slandered Subway. I've never been a Subway guy. I have great delis in my town. I've always had great delis.
Fun
You're
fact,
a Subway guy?
Go check out on this channel right here, My Mom's Basement channel. We did a recent episode with Meatball Molly, UFC fighter that Barstool Sports signed, a spinning back fist episode, and she told us about the origin of her nickname, Meatball Molly. And it comes from her working at Subway while she trained, and she would go to the gym after her Subway shift, and everyone would say, "You smell like meatballs." And that was the origin of Meatball Molly. She showed us a picture of her like in a mascot Subway suit where she's dressed as a sandwich and everything. Just a delight of a human being. Go check out the 2 episodes with Meatball Molly. Even if you're not a fight fan, I think you'll enjoy like how funny she is as a human being. And also, in one of them, I got leg kicked. Because, Clem, we hit 20,000 subscribers. That's another thing we could kind of celebrate. We wanted to hit it for the Peacemaker dance. Unfortunately, we couldn't. That was a big ask. and we got it for a leg kick, which hurt a lot more than a Peacemaker dance would have. It hurt like a motherfucker. Still does, actually.
We're learning quickly. They like to I think the basement people like us, but I also think they like to see bad things happen. Like you had to smash the egg on your face when we got to yeah. Was that 10 or is that 5?
And that was 10.
That was 10
on Christmas Eve. I remember getting home from Christmas Eve, and we hit 10 that night. So it's pretty quick we're here May 5th as we record this at 20,000. So thank you to everyone who's been supporting, subscribing, from My Mom's Basement itself to the new Spinning Backfist MMA show. It's all under the same umbrella. It's all stuff you talk about in your mom's basement. So I figure it all fits here, and I appreciate people. Oh, and the new merch too. Check out the new merch. Nathan Hurst, our guy. I don't know if you could see it on the really on it, but it's like embroidered, you know? It's actually got the patches. We've got the Chewbacca one, where it's a Chewbacca-themed stoolie. It's a navy blue. We talked about that last week. I'm not even going to try to do the Chewbacca call because that was bad last week. And we've got this as like joggers. So it's a whole jogger set. So go check that out. store.barstoolsports.com. When it comes to what you were going to say about Miss Marvel before, you want to talk about that now?
Yeah, okay. So, again, I feel like I think Moon Knight, maybe Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I think they were. Is it worse to have a bad movie that you sit through for 2 hours, or is it a bad show for 6 weeks that you like? And I'm not saying Moon Knight was a bad show, but just something you're not like. Yeah, so it's 6 weeks of like 40 minutes a show,
to be honest.
Right.
Yeah.
So what do you think of like? I don't like. Maybe we. I don't want to say not do Miss Marvel. We have to like figure out a plan. Like, is Miss Marvel going to be worth it? Because just seeing the trailer, I was like, I don't know how easy this is going to be to talk about. And I also do think Miss Marvel is a very important character. Yeah. My daughter fucking loves her, so I kind of am getting to know her. But I'm like, do we maybe do like a Peacemaker end of series recap? And if it's fucking like the surprise hit of the summer, we just jump in episode 2 or 3,
or just do we gauge it with the listeners? Should we be like,
yeah.
You know, episode 1 comes out, like, tweet, like, hey, do you want us to recap this show episode by episode? Because I feel the same way as you. And I feel bad, like, sleeping on a Marvel product, not trusting the Feige here. But I watched that trailer, and I think we mentioned it on one of the Moon Knight recaps. We were both like, it kind of seems like a show that's maybe rightfully made for young girls, that iCarly audience, and that's okay. But maybe not for us.
It's not us.
Yeah, it's just like, it's good that you're expanding. And that's another thing. You're about to see Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange, like, pushes things forward. Where you watch that movie and you're like, oh, okay, this doesn't, like, click into the typical MCU mold. Where some of these movies, I love the MCU. But, like, take Black Widow and take, I don't know, one of the other new ones. You could kind of swap the directors and you wouldn't tell a difference. They fit in that MCU mold, which for better or for worse, sometimes it's good because it's like all of these movies fit together so well that they do feel like one cohesive story. And I love that because that's what comics feel like. But on the same side, having that variety is awesome. So I guess we'll play it by ear with Miss Marvel, especially being that Stranger Things and Obi-Wan are going to be out at that time. Like, I have a feeling people are going to be much more interested in those. I did see Miss Marvel's coming out exclusively in theaters in Pakistan because it's a Pakistani superhero, and they don't have Disney Plus over there yet. So, like, every week, they're putting out, like, episodes in theaters, which is kind of cool.
Oh, shit. Yeah, that's awesome. I didn't even know you could like do that. That's a thing. That's fucking cool. Yeah. But yeah, I'm looking June 8th. So we're going to have Obi-Wan will be humming at some point. Yeah. And Stranger Things, we have to
Obi-Wan and Vader's in the show by that point.
Yeah, and then we're like, I'm saying, are we going to want another thing in the basement? You got spinning back fist, fucking crushing. There's be a lot of shit going on. Plus, I don't know how we're going to figure out Stranger Things because Stranger Things was always a binge show for me, where I just binge it. And I don't know, do we do like after episode recaps, or do we do just because it's going to be part 1 of the 2-part season recap? So either way, it's going to be a lot of shit just between those 2 shows. And if Miss Marvel forces our hand, well, fucking, I have no problem doing it at all. It's good. It's just like. Yeah. It's just like if Moon Knight, I just know if Moon Knight had come out in June 8th, this would have been tough to get this and all that in and give it the love it deserves, right? Yeah. So I was just thinking out loud. You guys let us know either way, but I think
everyone let us know on Twitter this week, just like
recalibrate.
Know what you want to hear on the podcast. We're a show for the listeners, by the listeners, kind of a Barstool Sports slogan there. So we'll listen to you. We'll take your suggestions.
I have an idea. How about if Patty kicks you in the leg?
No. I'm calling it off immediately. No more leg kicks. No more. Oh my god.
How are we feeling too? Like, let the people know how we're feeling right now. I don't know if you've done an update on Twitter or anything, but just let the listeners.
I'm real sore.
Yeah.
I wonder if I could like take my pants off to show the people the bruise without like showing anything else. Hold on. I'm gonna show the bruise here. It's not as bad as you would expect. At least I don't think. But like, do you see that?
Yeah.
You see that?
Yep, that hurts.
There's the bruise. It feels like, you know when people give you a dead leg? It feels like someone gave me a dead leg 3 seconds ago, Clem.
And this was, what, 3 days ago?
This was over 24 hours ago.
And listen, if you're a fucking... All right, unless you're a doctor, don't tweet at my boy Bob about what he has to do or what he's going to have because of it. Because I'll tell you, when I hurt my calf celebrating the Javi Baez, like basically stealing home, I had like so many people telling me all the bad shit was going to happen to me. It was like a bad episode of going on WebMD, and it scared the shit out of me and ended up being fine. And I'm not saying that's not what's going to happen to Bob.
They're telling me I'm getting blood clots, hematoma. I'm going to get a blood clot on the plane. It's going to go to my heart. I'm going to die. I'm like, am I going to be killed by a leg kick? Is a leg kick going to take
That's
Bob
right, you're
Fox
traveling
down?
too.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I did, and then, of course, when people start tweeting you at that, the hypochondriac in me is like, let me go on WebMD, look up hematomas. And immediately they're like, do not get on a plane. And I was like, well, I've been on a plane for 4 hours. Like, I was looking it up in the sky.
Imagine telling Dave, hey, Dave, I can't go to Vegas for, like, the biggest thing of the company. Why? Because I'm scared I might have a blood clot because a couple people on Twitter told me so.
Yeah.
He'd fucking fire you on the spot. He'd fire me just for working with you on the spot.
Yeah, he wouldn't like that. But you know what? I think I'm fine. I truly think I'm fine. I've been walking around on it, limping a little bit, walking like a pirate, but it's not like, you saw the bruise. It's not like, oh my God, that thing needs to be looked at by a doctor immediately. It's like, I took a leg kick.
I bet our boy Large is going to have a gout flare up in the next 24 hours, so you guys will be hobbling together. It's all right.
Yeah.
His fucking big old toe. All right, so did you think of a fast food item? I won't hold you to it if you didn't.
I did think of one, and I completely forgot to mention it because we went on something else. I hope I don't piss anyone off with this. I would go with Popeyes fries. I love a Popeyes chicken sandwich. Their fries, I think, are good but not great. They're like, I'll eat them every time I get a chicken sandwich. I'll get a side of fries. I'll finish the fries. But I never eat them, and I'm like, oh my God, I love these fries. Like I am with McDonald's, like I am with Wendy's, like I am with so many different other places. Popeyes, okay.
That's a good call. We actually we went to a mall the other day, and there was weird selection of food, and Popeyes was the only thing that really had like chicken tenders for the kids. And I was looking, and I got them the fries. I'm like, you guys aren't good. And I could eat their fries because it was like a whole way more than they could eat. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just not a big Pop. And the funny thing about Popeyes fries, it's the one place where I'm like, I might go with a different side here today. Like that and KFC are the only two places where I always think a different side. KFC, it's because they got rid of the fucking potato wedges, those scumbags.
Crazy. I will
potato
say,
wedges was always
potato wedges were way better than the fries they currently have. I do think their current fries are pretty decent. I think they're better than Popeyes for sure.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Popeyes fries, it's just like the seasoning. Sometimes I'm not in the mood for that. Whatever's on the chicken's enough. But I'm with you. By the way,
that's another issue. And it's not like I get delivery. I go to the Popeyes. We got one right across from the office. And they always give me the fries, and they're always like room temp. I'm always like, eh.
And what is it, Louisiana Fast?
Yeah,
is that what they say?
It is Louisiana Fast.
Louisiana Fast. So is it fast because the fries have just been sitting around for a while? I don't get it.
Everything's sitting in the back. Yeah, come in and we'll just put it in the bag for you. Their chicken sandwich is pretty legit, though. I went through phases with it where I tried it when it first came out, and I was like, I don't know if this is worth the hype. I still think Chick-fil-A is better. And now I think Popeyes is better than Chick-fil-A.
So I'm with you on that. It almost felt fake. The amount of hype the Popeyes chicken sandwich was good. And by the way, everyone who's upset that we're not talking about Moon Knight, this is technically our review of Moon Knight, so we are still talking about it in this Popeyes talk. I thought it was like fake because there was just so much hype around it. Because I'll have Popeyes once every 5 years back in the day, and then I ate that sandwich. And the only way I can review it is it bites you back because it is like a fucking hunk of chicken.
Crunchy,
I've never had anything like it in my life. And again, I love the Wendy's spicy chicken. I love Chick-fil-A. I always, McDonald's, I'll fuck with their chicken sandwich.
Shake Shack has an underrated one. The Chicken Shack?
Yep. Popeyes is the king, though, of the chicken sandwich. And I did see they have a new Buffalo Ranch sandwich out right now, too. So
Not
maybe
a big
that'll...
ranch guy, so I don't know if I'd like that.
I'm gonna say that's gonna be like Jake Lockley. I think that's gonna be like, oh, that's some fucking mean ass shit right there. That's gonna bite you. That'll really bite you back. It might fucking punch you in the face too. So I think we're on this together. And like you said, we got Doctor Strange coming up. We'll have a review at some point. I guess next week. Is that when we'll do it? Bob's obviously in Vegas.
Yeah, I guess Monday or Tuesday. It depends on when I get back. Monday or Tuesday.
Okay. So if you haven't seen Doctor Strange yet, watch the Everything You Need to Know About Doctor Strange with Jose, and then we'll have a recap for you guys next week.
And no
I'm
spoilers,
going tomorrow.
but things we talked about in the Everything You Need to Know About Doctor Strange did come to fruition. I'll just leave it at that.
I saw someone tweet that, and I didn't know what it meant. It just said like Jose and had like a mind-blowing, head-blowing emoji. So I'm guessing some shit went down there. So our boy hit the nail on the head yet again.
Yeah.
So hell yeah, man. Oh, and I got the hashtag for everyone that made it to the end. Hashtag 20KNIGHT. Hashtag 20 night, because this is 20K. It's Moon Knight, little combined.
That's good. I like that. 20 night. All right, if you made it to the end of the episode, tweet us 20 night, hashtag 20 night. And if you made it to the end of the season with us, thanks for following along. It's always fun recapping Marvel shows. Doing stuff like this genuinely makes the show way more entertaining, interesting, captivating for me. I'm sure for you too, Clem, just being able to like watch all the videos before we do our stuff and try to get the Easter eggs, try to do the stuff with Jose. So I'm looking forward to the next one we do, the next show we do. It'll be Obi-Wan. It'll be a show that, I mean, I'm already like coming myself over, so I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to be like settle down, Bob. I'm gonna be like pulling the leash on him, like Bob, settle down. He's gonna be like the dog barking at the mailman.
I'm gonna have to start every one of those episodes with "Hello there" and "Welcome to my mom's basement." Right? I'm gonna have to.
Yes, you gotta do that. You gotta do that. And seriously, we say it a bunch here, but everyone that like. You guys, tweet at us, talk to, it's funny when I go like bars to the ballpark, I'm a Mets fan, I'm a Giants fan, and it's like, all right, we got to talk Doctor Strange, we got to talk Moon Knight. What do you think's going to happen this week? Love mixing it up with you guys. Again, in the comments, you guys, leaving shit there too. We love that. In the comments, I guess the YouTube comments, what was your favorite part of the season in Moon Knight?
Favorite part of the season or season 2 prediction?
Yeah, season 2 prediction that you want to see come true. Like, give us a good one. But yeah, you guys are the best. Thank you for making this possible. As long as whatever you guys do to help Erica keep the lights on, we appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right, we will talk to you soon. I don't know if we'll talk. Yeah, we'll talk to you next week for Doctor Strange. So look out for that either Monday or Tuesday on this channel. We will have a full Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness recap. So there you go. See you then.